The space station was loud, bright, and full of fear. Ships came and went every minute. Aliens of many kinds walked fast, avoiding eye contact. In this place, humans were not welcome. They were watched, judged, and kept at a distance. The human was used to it. His name did not matter here. To the station, he was just another human worker. He cleaned floors, fixed broken panels, and carried heavy crates. Aliens stepped away when he passed. Some whispered. Others stared with cold eyes. Stories about humans were everywhere. Humans were said to be violent, cruel, and dangerous. No one wanted to be close to one. The human kept his head down and did his work. As he walked through a narrow service hall, he felt something strange. The feeling was soft but clear. Someone was watching him. He stopped and turned around. Nothing. Only metal walls, pipes, and flickering lights. He shook his head and kept walking. A few steps later, he heard a small sound, soft, almost like a breath. He turned again. This time, he saw it. A tiny alien stood behind a stack of crates. The alien was very small, no taller than the human's knee. Its skin was pale blue, almost gray. Big dark eyes stared at him with fear and hope mixed together. The alien looked thin and tired. Its clothes were torn. It did not move. The human froze. Aliens did not approach humans, especially not children. Slowly, the human stepped back. He did not want trouble. The tiny alien quickly hid behind the crates. But one eye still watched him. The human waited. After a moment, he turned and walked away. He reached the end of the hall and looked back. The tiny alien was following him. It walked carefully, staying far behind, hiding whenever other aliens passed. Its small feet made almost no sound. But it did not stop. The human's heart beat faster. He turned a corner. The alien followed. He entered a busy market area. The alien stayed close to the walls, eyes always on him. Why? The human whispered to himself. Guards walked nearby. If they saw this, it would be bad. Humans were blamed for everything. A human with a strange, alien child would bring trouble. The human stopped suddenly. The tiny alien stopped too. They stared at each other. The human raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. The alien flinched but did not run. Instead, it took one small step forward. That was when the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed. A loud voice echoed through the station. Security alert. All civilians must clear the area. Aliens panicked. They ran in all directions. The tiny alien looked around in terror. Its eyes filled with fear. Then, without thinking, it ran toward the human. It grabbed his hand. The human felt the small, shaking fingers wrap around his own. He could have pulled away. He did not. Blasts echoed in the distance. Heavy footsteps shook the floor. Guards shouted orders. The human knew he should leave. But when he looked down, the tiny alien was staring up at him, eyes wide. Trusting him completely. Trusting a human. That made no sense. Stay close, the human said softly. He moved through side paths, using his knowledge of the station. He hid behind machinery as guards rushed past. The tiny alien stayed right behind him, never letting go. Once, a guard stopped near them. The alien trembled. The human stepped slightly in front of the child without thinking. The guard glanced at him with disgust and moved on. After a long moment, the alarms faded. The station grew quiet again. The human crouched down. You shouldn't follow me, he said gently. The tiny alien tilted its head. It did not understand the words, but it understood the tone. It placed its small hand on the human's chest. The human felt something shift inside him. Where is your family? He asked. The alien looked away. Its shoulders dropped. It made a soft sound, full of sadness. The human realized the truth. This tiny alien was alone, and it had chosen him. From the shadows, unseen eyes watched them. Messages began to spread through the station. Whispers moved faster than ships. A tiny alien was following the human, and the galaxy was about to find out why the human did not sleep that night. The space station lights dimmed to night mode, but the service tunnel stayed cold and bright. The human sat on a metal crate inside an old storage room. Broken machines surrounded him. The tiny alien sat close to his leg, knees pulled to its chest, watching every move he made. It still would not leave. Every time the human shifted, the alien shifted too. When he stood, the alien stood. When he sat, the alien sat. It was like a shadow that breathed. The human sighed quietly. "You really don't trust anyone else," he said. The alien did not understand the words, but it understood the feeling. It leaned closer. Outside the room, footsteps passed. Alien voices spoke in sharp, nervous tones. The station was restless. Something was wrong. The human peeked through a crack in the door. 2 guards walked by, holding scanners. Their armor was heavy. Their eyes were cold. "They're searching," the human whispered. The tiny alien stiffened. Its hands shook. It made a soft sound, almost a cry, then covered its mouth as if it knew sound was dangerous. That told the human everything. This alien was hiding. Not lost. Not curious, hunted. The human looked at the alien again. Up close, he could see small marks on its arms. Not wounds, but old scars. Thin lines. Signs of pain. Signs of control. Anger burned quietly in his chest. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small food pack. He opened it slowly and placed it on the floor between them. Then he stepped back. The alien stared at the food. Its eyes widened. It did not rush forward. Instead, it looked at the human first. Waiting, the human nodded once. The tiny alien crawled forward and took the food with shaking hands. It ate slowly, carefully, like it was afraid the food might disappear. The human turned away to give it space. A loud announcement echoed through the station. "All personnel report suspicious activity. A restricted asset is missing." The human froze. Restricted asset. He had heard that term before. It was never used for people. The tiny alien dropped the food. Its eyes filled with fear. It grabbed the human's sleeve and pulled, trying to make him move. "All right," the human said quietly. "All right. I get it." He packed his bag fast. They moved through the lowest levels of the station, where broken lights flickered and old pipes hissed. These paths were forgotten by most aliens. The human knew them well. He had worked here for years. As they walked, the alien kept touching the human's arm, his hand, his back. Always checking. Always making sure he was still there. At one point, a group of aliens blocked the hall ahead. Rich-looking, powerful, their guards stood tall and alert. The human turned quickly and ducked into a side tunnel. The tiny alien followed without question. Inside the tunnel, the alien pressed its head against the human side. Its small body trembled. "They won't take you," the human said softly, though he did not know if it was true. Images flashed through his mind. Humans were feared, but also used. If this alien was valuable, dangerous forces would come. And if the human was seen protecting it, he would be blamed. He could still walk away. He could leave the alien here and disappear. The human stopped walking. The tiny alien looked up at him. For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then the alien did something unexpected. It placed its forehead gently against the human's chest. A sign of trust. A sign of safety. The human closed his eyes. "That's not fair," he whispered. Heavy footsteps echoed nearby. A scanner beam flashed across the wall. The human moved fast. He lifted the alien and hid inside a maintenance shaft. Metal scraped his hands. The alien held onto him tightly, but did not make a sound. Guards passed below. One paused. "Human scent," a guard growled. The human held his breath. The tiny alien pressed its face into his shoulder. After a long, painful moment, the guards moved on. The human slid down and sat on the floor. His hands shook. The alien touched his face with one small finger, as if checking if he was real. That was the moment the human understood. This tiny alien was not following him by accident. It had chosen him because the galaxy had taught it one terrible truth: that only a human would protect it without asking for anything in return. And somewhere far above them, powerful eyes had already noticed. The hunt had begun. The station changed its mood the next cycle. Lights stayed brighter. Patrols doubled. Screens showed warning symbols in every language. The human felt it the moment he stepped out of the maintenance shaft. The air was tight with fear. The tiny alien stayed close, holding onto the back of his jacket. It no longer tried to hide its fear. Its eyes scanned every shadow, every sound. "They're serious now," the human said under his breath. They moved through a long corridor lined with old viewing windows. Beyond the glass, stars drifted in silence. The beauty felt wrong in a place filled with tension. Suddenly, the alien stopped. It let go of the human's jacket and stared at one window. Its body went still. Then it raised one shaking hand and pressed it against the glass. The human followed its gaze. A massive alien cruiser drifted outside the station. Dark, sharp, and covered in symbols of power. He recognized the markings. Everyone did. The High Council enforcers. His stomach dropped. "Is that who you're running from?" he asked quietly. The tiny alien nodded once. That single movement said more than words. They hurried away from the windows. The alien began making small sounds, urgent and broken. It pointed at its own head, then at the ship. Then shook its head hard. "You don't want to go back," the human said. The alien's eyes filled with tears. As they reached an abandoned cargo bay, the alien suddenly tugged at the human's sleeve. It moved toward a broken console and pressed its small hands against the screen. The console flickered to life. The human stared in shock. The tiny alien's eyes glowed faintly as images filled the screen. Not clear pictures, but flashes, memories, alien homes burning, tall figures in dark armor, smaller aliens being taken away, a room full of light and pain, devices attached to heads. The human felt sick. "They used you," he whispered. The alien nodded again. Its body shook as the images continued. A group of scientists. Cold voices. Words like potential and resource, then something else. A map of the galaxy. Lines connecting star systems. One small mark flashing over and over. The human leaned closer. That's a control network," he said slowly. He had heard rumors. Systems that could influence ships, stations, even weapons. Ancient tech mixed with living minds. The alien clutched its head and cried out softly. The human understood. The tiny alien was the key. That was why the High Council wanted it back. A loud sound echoed through the cargo bay. Clang! The door behind them slid open. 3 enforcers stepped inside. Tall, armored, weapons raised. "There," one of them said. "The asset." The alien screamed and ran to the human, grabbing his leg. The human stepped forward without thinking. "It's not an asset," he said. "It's a child." The enforcers laughed, a harsh sound. "Step aside, human," the leader said. "This does not concern you." The human's heart pounded, but his feet did not move. "It concerns me now." The alien pressed its face into his leg, shaking. The enforcers raised their weapons. Before they could fire, the station shook violently. Alarms screamed again. Red lights flashed. "External breach," a voice announced. "Multiple unauthorized entries." The enforcers cursed and turned toward the door. The human did not wait. He grabbed the alien and ran. They raced through collapsing corridors as explosions echoed above. Smoke filled the air. The alien held onto him, eyes wide but trusting. They slid through a closing door just as the corridor behind them sealed shut. The human collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. The alien reached up and touched his face again. The human laughed softly, even as fear clawed at his chest. "You showed me the truth," he said, "didn't you?" The alien nodded. Far above the station, the High Council watched the chaos unfold. They did not see a runaway child anymore. They saw a threat. And for the first time, they were afraid. Because a human now knew the truth. And humans never looked away once they did. The explosion stopped, but the fear did not. The station was damaged now. Emergency lights glowed blue along the walls. Smoke drifted through the air like fog. The human moved slowly, keeping to the shadows. The tiny alien walked close, holding the edge of his jacket with both hands. Every sound made the alien flinch. They reached an old observation ring, a wide circular hall with broken seats and cracked glass panels. No guards, no civilians. Just silence and stars. The human stopped. "We can rest here," he said softly. The tiny alien nodded but did not sit. It kept looking back the way they came, ears twitching, body tense. "You hear something," the human said. The alien pointed at its head, then at the walls, then made a small wave motion with its hands. "You can feel them," the human realized. "The ships. The signals." The alien nodded again. The human looked around the empty hall. He felt small. He felt hunted. But he also felt something else growing inside him. Anger. Not loud. Not wild. Cold and steady. "They think you're a tool," he said. "Something they can use." The alien lowered its head. "They're wrong." The human sat on the floor and leaned against the wall. The alien slowly sat beside him, still touching his arm. For a few quiet minutes, nothing happened. Then footsteps echoed. The alien froze. The human stood quickly and moved in front of the child. From the far end of the hall, 3 figures appeared. Not guards. Not enforcers. Civilians. 2 tall aliens and 1 smaller one. They wore simple clothes. No weapons. They stopped when they saw the human. Fear flashed across their faces. "He's human," one whispered. The tiny alien stepped forward before the human could stop it. It stood between the human and the strangers. The alien stared. That's a child," the smaller one said. The human slowly raised his hands. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." The taller alien hesitated. "Then why is it with you?" The tiny alien reached back and took the human's hand. That simple action changed everything. The civilians looked at each other. Confusion replaced fear. "It chose him," the smaller alien said softly. More aliens appeared at the edges of the hall. Workers, families, refugees. They had been hiding during the chaos. They all saw the same thing, a tiny alien holding a human's hand. Whispers spread. "He's protecting it. It trusts him." That's not what they told us about humans. The human felt dozens of eyes on him. He wanted to run. Instead, he stayed still. "They're coming for the child," he said. "The High Council. They heard it. They used it." Murmurs grew louder. The tiny alien stepped forward again. Its eyes glowed faintly. Images appeared in the air, soft and blue. Memories, pain, fear. Cold rooms, restraints. Gasps filled the hall. "They lied to us," someone said. The alien memories faded. The tiny alien swayed, tired. The human caught it before it fell. That was when the station doors opened. A group of High Council enforcers marched in, weapons ready. Their leader stepped forward. "Hand over the asset," he ordered. No one moved. The civilians looked at the child, then at the human, then back at the enforcers. "No," someone said. The word spread, soft at first. then stronger. No. The enforcer leader's eyes narrowed. This does not concern you. It concerns all of us, an alien woman replied. That is a child. The enforcers raised their weapons. The human tightened his grip on the tiny alien. His heart raced, but his voice stayed calm. You'll have to go through me, he said. The leader laughed. You are one human. The human met his gaze. That's enough. Before the enforcers could react, station security drones dropped from the ceiling. Not attacking, recording, broadcasting. The entire exchange went live across the station. Across nearby systems, across the galaxy. Aliens everywhere saw it. A human standing unarmed, a tiny alien choosing him, and powerful rulers pointing weapons at a child. The enforcers hesitated. For the first time they were being watched. The human looked down at the tiny alien. You did this, he whispered. The alien rested its head against his side. Outside the station, ships slowed. Messages flooded in. Demands for answers. Calls for truth. The balance shifted, and the galaxy took its first step towards something it was not ready to face. A human who refused to step aside. The broadcast could not be stopped. Across the station, screens flickered to life. In ships drifting nearby, pilots paused. On distant worlds, signals echoed through council halls and private chambers. Everyone saw the same image. A tiny alien child standing beside a human, and weapons pointed at them. Inside the observation ring, the High Council enforcers lowered their guns slightly, not out of mercy, but out of fear. They were trained for silence, not for being watched. The human felt the shift. He did not relax. He held the tiny alien closer. Step away, the enforcer leader said, his voice tight. You are interfering with galactic order. The human shook his head. You already broke it. Behind him, the civilians stood their ground. Some trembled, some held each other. None of them moved aside. The tiny alien lifted its head. Its eyes glowed brighter than before. A low hum filled the room. Lights dimmed. The air felt heavy, like a storm about to break. On every screen, new images appeared. Not memories this time, live data. Star maps shifted. Lines connected worlds, stations, fleets. Systems responded to the tiny alien's presence. Gasps echoed through the hall. It's activating the network, one enforcer whispered. The leader's face went pale. Impossible. It's too young. The human looked down. You said it was an asset, he said. Looks like you were wrong. The tiny alien swayed again. The human knelt and supported it. Easy, he whispered. You don't have to do this. The alien looked up at him. It touched his face, then turned back to the room. A new image filled the air. A chamber, cold, bright, full of machines. The same enforcers stood there weeks ago. Scientists watched as the tiny alien screamed in silence. This is what they did, the human said quietly. The civilians reacted with anger, now not fear. You tortured a child, someone shouted. For power, another said. The enforcer leader raised his voice. This is necessary. The galaxy needs control. No, the human replied. You wanted control. The tiny alien let out a small cry. The hum grew louder. Outside the station, ships lost formation. Weapons powered down. Systems froze. The galaxy listened. Far away, the High Council chamber erupted in panic. Orders were shouted. Overrides failed. The child is locking us out, a council member said. Because you never protected it, another replied. Back in the station, the enforcers stepped back. One lowered his weapon completely. This has gone too far, he said. The leader turned on him. Stand down. No, the enforcer replied. I won't. He removed his helmet. Others followed. The human stood slowly, holding the tiny alien in his arms. It ends now, he said. The leader laughed weakly. You think you've won? "You're still just one human." The human looked around. Civilians stood taller now. Security drones hovered calmly. Messages poured in from other stations. "Other worlds, support." "You're wrong," the human said. "I was alone. I'm not anymore." The tiny alien raised one hand. The enforcer leader's weapon shut down completely. His armor powered. The emergency council chamber was silent when the human entered. It was a vast circular hall floating in deep space. Tall seats rose like steps around the center platform. Powerful alien leaders filled them. Some wore symbols of authority. Others hid behind glowing screens. All eyes followed the human as he walked in. The tiny alien was in his arms. Whispers spread immediately. "That's the child, the key, the one who shut us down." The human ignored them. He stood at the center of the chamber and waited. A tall council member spoke first. "Human, you are accused of interfering with galactic stability." The human looked up calmly. "I protected a child." Murmurs grew louder. Another council member leaned forward. "That child nearly collapsed our defense network." The human tightened his hold slightly. "Because you built your power on its pain." The tiny alien stirred. Its eyes opened slowly. The glow returned, soft but steady. Screens around the chamber lit up without command. Gasps filled the room. The child did not show memories this time. It showed numbers, patterns, predictions, futures, worlds burning, fleets colliding, entire systems falling into chaos. "This," the human said quietly, "is what happens when you use fear to rule." The council members shifted uncomfortably. One older alien spoke, voice shaking. "We believed humans were dangerous." The human nodded. "We can be." The chamber went quiet. "But not like this," he continued. "We protect. We stay. We don't leave the weak behind." The tiny alien reached out and placed its hand on the floor. The images changed. Now they showed another future. Aliens and humans working together. Fleets standing down. Trade routes open. Children playing on shared worlds, hope. The council stared. "This future," the human said, "only exists if the child is free." A sharp voice cut through the silence. "And what happens if humans gain access to this power?" The human looked directly at the speaker. "Nothing." Laughter echoed. "You expect us to believe that?" The human shook his head. "No, but the child does." He looked down. The tiny alien met his eyes and nodded. The screens went dark. All systems in the chamber shut down completely. Lights dimmed. Life support stayed on. Nothing else. Panic spread. What did it do? The human raised his voice for the first time. "It showed you mercy." The power slowly returned. One by one, council members stood. Some bowed their heads. One stepped forward. "We were wrong." Another followed. Then another. Finally, the oldest council member spoke. "The High Council is dissolved. Effective immediately." Shock filled the chamber. "We will form a new alliance," the elder continued. "One that includes humans." The human said nothing. "And the child?" someone asked. The human answered without hesitation. "It comes with me." No one argued. Days passed. News spread faster than any ship. Across the galaxy, statues fell. Camps were opened. Prison worlds were emptied. Old systems were shut down. The tiny alien recovered slowly. Doctors tried to study it. It refused. It only relaxed when the human was near. They gave the child a choice. Stay with its people. Join the new alliance. Or leave. The tiny alien chose the human. They offered him power, titles, a fleet. He refused them all. "I'll stay where I'm needed," he said. They gave him a small ship instead. Simple, quiet. As they prepared to leave the station, a young alien worker approached nervously. "Are humans really that brave?" the worker asked. The human smiled slightly. "No, just stubborn." The tiny alien laughed softly. As the ship pulled away, stars stretching ahead, the galaxy watched. Not in fear, but in respect, because they had learned the truth too late. Humanity was not dangerous because it sought power. Humanity was dangerous because it refused to abandon the innocent. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The ship drifted through open space, quiet and steady. No alarms, no escorts. No guards, just stars, endless and calm. The human sat in the pilot's seat, hands resting lightly on the controls. He was no longer a worker hiding in service tunnels. He was no longer ignored. He was known. Behind him, the tiny alien sat on the floor, surrounded by soft lights and simple toys given by many worlds. It touched each one with curiosity, then crawled closer to the human. "Still following, always. You don't have to," the human said gently. "You're safe now." The tiny alien tilted its head, then stood and walked to his side. It placed its small hand on his arm. Choice, not fear. That mattered. Outside the ship, signals appeared. Not warnings, messages, invitations, worlds asking for help. Stations asking for guidance. Councils asking for advice. The human did not answer them all. He turned the ship toward a quiet system near the edge of known space. A place no one wanted. A place forgotten. They arrived at a small broken station. Its lights were weak. Its halls were empty. Old damage marked its walls. The tiny alien looked around, curious. "This is where it starts," the human said. He opened the station to refugees first. Families who had lost homes. Children who had no one left. Species once called dangerous or useless. They came slowly at first. Then in waves. The human worked again, cleaning, fixing, carrying, just like before. But now others helped. The tiny alien walked through the halls, no longer hiding. When it touched broken systems, they repaired themselves. When it focused, power flowed smoothly. But it never ruled. It followed. One day, a delegation arrived. Old council members. New leaders. Humans among them. "You should lead," one said. The human shook his head. "I'm not here to rule." The tiny alien stepped forward and projected a final message across the hall. Not images. Not power, words, simple words. Protect the small. Listen to the quiet. Never build power on pain. The message spread everywhere. Schools taught it. Stations carved it into walls. Fleets painted it on hulls. Time passed. The tiny alien grew taller, stronger, smarter, but it never walked ahead of the human. When asked why, it answered in the only way it knew. By staying. By choosing. Years later, a young alien child asked, "Why did the galaxy change?" An elder replied, "Because one child trusted a human." The child asked again, "Why did the human help?" The elder smiled. "Because that's what humans do." The ship that once drifted alone now sat at the center of a living station filled with many species. No flags, no rulers. Just people. The human stood by a window, older now. Lines marked his face. His hands were worn. The tiny alien stood beside him. Not tiny anymore. Still close, always. The human looked at the stars and spoke softly. "You could go anywhere." The alien answered, clear and calm now. "I already did." The galaxy watched them, not with fear, not with shock, but with understanding. They had not been ready for humans. They had expected monsters. They had found guardians, And it all began with a tiny alien who would not stop following a human. Because sometimes, the smallest choice changes everything. The end.